Hey y'all, and welcome to day 9 of our 12 days of Christmas tutorials and giveaways. Don't forget to join Brittany Barnes Boutique Tumbler art group so you can enter to win some of the amazing prizes we have left in our 12 days. For this tumbler, we are starting out with a 24-ounce plump from the Steel Magnolia, and I have attempted to paint it this blush pink from Rust-Oleum and a white in the center. I rave about the My Color Shot spray paints. However, they do not work very well at all when used with other brand spray paints. I even allowed my Rust-Oleum pink to dry completely before adding on my Color Shot white, and for whatever reason the pink just continuously took over, so I just left it as is since we are going to do a peekaboo on this anyway, and we have just a little bit of white to peek through. So rather than glittering this tumbler, we're going to make it a little easier and add our glitter directly into our epoxy. I am using the ARTISTRY 1:1 ratio fast set epoxy, and we added in Heart Happy and SARAPHINA from PDB Creative Studio. This is not my preferred way to glitter a tumbler. You can do this with opal glitters, and it really gives you a beautiful shimmer on top of your paint. But I always seem to have one or two spots that do not have glitter in it, no matter how much I try to coat the entire tumbler. But in this case, it was okay since we are just doing a peekaboo. So I coated that entire tumbler with our glitter epoxy mixture. After that cured, I sanded and then went in with a nice smooth thin coat. I printed out or cut out these snowflakes that we have used in multiple tutorials. I got them from Creative Fabrica on my stencil vinyl. I'm just going to hand place them around this tumbler. Normally I would cut them to size so I can just wrap it all at once, but I actually cut these for a 32-ounce tumbler instead of this one, so I ended up just placing them on by hand. Once all of my stencils were placed, I used Krylon Light Gray and the Color Shot White once again, and I was actually going to put some pretty fulls on top of this and allow that paint to show through, but it did take a couple coats of that white to get it to really blend in well with the other brand paint. So I decided to add on some micas on top of this instead. So I grabbed my Southern Belle Glitter Full Glue, and let me tell y'all, this stuff is super, super sticky. I actually had to call Cindy over at Southern Belle Glitter and ask her, how on earth do I get this to not be so sticky? Well, what I was doing was using just as much of this solution as I would tack it, and it takes way, way, way less. I literally just tapped the end of my makeup brush into the top and used very little and spread a thin coat all over this tumbler, and it was still at this point a whole lot tackier than Tack It has ever been. So I was super excited to be able to finally get this right on my tumbler and add on some micas and see how good it really grabs a hold of them. And I don't know about you if you have used Tack It before, but you go through that stuff really quickly because it does take quite a bit of it, and it's super thick to cover the entire tumbler and get enough tack to grab a hold of my micas or fulls. But with this stuff, you use a teeny tiny little bit, so that one jar is going to last forever. I dried it up using my heat gun on low heat setting, and as soon as that was dry, I added on some angel dust from PDB Creative Studio. And I was not, you probably just saw me look at my hand like, oh my gosh, what have I done? I wasn't expecting it to look like this. It kind of blew me away there for a second because it had so much shine to it. There was so much depth in this mica, and there were glitter particles floating everywhere. If you do not have angel dust in your PDB collection, or if you have not purchased anything from PDB Creative Studio yet, I highly suggest getting this one. It is stunning, but it does float everywhere. If you do grab it and use it on your tumblers, make sure that you do not have any no glitter cups sitting around because they will most certainly have glitter on them. Another wonderful thing about the Southern Belle Full Glue is that you can use it with stencils and it's not going to peel up any of your paint or any of your glitter or fulls that you put on top once you remove your stencils. So after I applied the angel dust, I did give this a light clear matte coat of spray paint just to seal all of that mica in or glitter in before I removed my stencils. Once I removed all of my stencils, I gave this one thin coat of epoxy so that we have a nice, smooth and shiny surface to add on our rub-on transfers. Now this sheet is another sheet that come from the Brittany Barnes Boutique Holiday Collection. And I'm just going to trim around the 3 floral clusters that are on this sheet, and then we're later going to grab some of those snowflakes as well and add those in some empty spaces on the tumbler. Once I have all of my rub-on transfers cut out, I'm going to take the largest one and put it straight up and down on the back side, and then I'm going to alternate the other 2 on the front side so that it sort of hugs the spot where our main decal is going to go. You can apply these by putting them straight down on the tumbler. Make sure you only stick them down in one area so that you can use the wooden stick that comes with them and rub them down as you work your way to the edge of the transfer. When you pull the top film off, make sure that you do pull that towards you to give it a little bit of tension and then pull up. This will help avoid pulling any of those transfers off of your tumbler. And once those are off, you can smooth out with your hand, just very lightly, or a microfiber cloth to make sure that they are nicely secured to the tumbler. I normally don't do personalized or custom tumblers, but I am making this as a gift. So I made this cute decal with a name, and since we are applying this directly on top of our rub-on transfers, I have stuck my transfer tape to just about anything I could find to remove as much of the tack from it as possible. And by pressing the decal down face down on the table and using that little squeegee tool to remove the back helps it stick to the transfer tape, even though the transfer tape is not very sticky. I avoided rubbing over the areas where our transfers are, and just press that decal down lightly, remove the transfer tape, and then I finished pressing it down with just my hand to avoid messing up our rub-on transfers. And then I went back in and added a few of those snowflakes in areas I feel like just needed a little something else. Once I had all of those in place, I went over with a very, very light matte coat of spray paint and then went in with 2 final coats of epoxy after that spray paint had dried. Although I'm not a huge fan of this color scheme, the blush and the silvers and the golds, I really love how this came together and how beautiful and just elegant this tumbler looks. And I hope Cindy loves it as well. As always, all of the materials that I have used will be listed down in the description below with some discount codes for y'all. Don't forget to join our Brittany Barnes Boutique Tumbler art group. We have a few giveaways left in our 12 days of Christmas, and I don't want you to miss out. That is all for today. Thank you all so much, and we will see you next time.